Have you ever wondered why your pain cut deeper than everyone else's? Why your heart carried burdens that would crush ordinary people? Why you've spent decades walking through valleys so dark that you questioned if God even remembered your name? Pause. Let that sink into their bones. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. That isolation wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Those sleepless nights when you cried in silence, begging heaven for just one sign that you matter, every single tear was being collected in golden bowls before the throne of God. And today, He's finally responding. You didn't find this message by accident. This isn't another video you stumbled across while scrolling through your phone, desperately searching for hope. You were spiritually stalked not by darkness, but by destiny itself. For months, maybe years, heaven has been watching you survive without applause, watching you carry others when you could barely carry yourself, watching you smile through torment that would have destroyed weaker souls. And God said, enough. Right now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The Almighty is activating something around your life that will change everything. A supernatural protection bubble, an invisible dome so powerful that it will shield you from every demonic attack, every energy vampire, every force that has been draining your spirit for decades. This isn't metaphor, this isn't wishful thinking. This is divine intervention breaking through the veil of the ordinary into your living room, into your broken heart, into your weary soul. But here's what most people don't understand. This dome only activates when you receive it. When you stop questioning whether you're worthy enough, chosen enough, faithful enough. The enemy has spent years convincing you that you're too damaged for God's miracles. That lie dies today. If your spirit is stirring right now, if something deep in your chest is awakening as you hear these words, comment, I receive it immediately. This isn't just a video, this is a visitation, and your agreement opens the dome that heaven has been preparing specifically for you. Voice drops to intimate whisper. Before we go deeper, I want to thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let heaven know you're ready. Because what I'm about to reveal will explain why your life has been so different, so difficult, so divinely orchestrated. The protection that's coming isn't just defensive, it's activating something ancient inside you that's been waiting to be born. Stay with me. Your breakthrough is about to begin. Did you think you were alone in that hospital room when they told you the news that shattered your world? Did you believe no one witnessed the moment your spouse walked out, leaving you to raise the children by yourself? Did you assume that when your best friend stabbed you in the back when they smiled to your face while destroying your reputation behind closed doors, that it happened in some cosmic vacuum where justice doesn't exist? You were wrong. Dead wrong. Every betrayal that cut you to the bone was witnessed. Every tear that fell in the darkness of your bedroom at 3 a.m. was counted. Every moment when you felt like screaming at God, "Where are you? Have you forgotten me?" He was there, watching, recording, building a case. Listen to me, chosen one. You weren't overlooked, you were observed. And what heaven saw being done to you has triggered something that most people will never experience in their entire lifetime. The Bible tells us in Psalm 56:8, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." But here's what the preachers don't tell you: that bottle isn't just for collection, it's evidence. And when the evidence reaches a certain level, heaven moves. You've been under spiritual surveillance your entire life. Not by the enemy, though, he's been watching too. but by the Most High God, who has seen every attack launched against your peace, your purpose, your very soul. Every demon that whispered lies in your ear. Every person who was sent to drain your energy. Every financial disaster that seemed to come out of nowhere. Every health crisis that tried to break your faith. They touched you while heaven watched, but heaven never forgot. Do you remember that moment when everything seemed to fall apart at once? When your job disappeared, your health failed, and even your own family turned against you? You called it bad luck. You blamed yourself. You wondered what you'd done wrong. But what if I told you it wasn't random? What if every attack was coordinated? What if you've been targeted because you carry something so powerful, so dangerous to the kingdom of darkness that they had to try to destroy you before you discovered who you really are? Ephesians 6:12 warns us, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age." But here's the revelation that will change everything. When the spiritual warfare gets intense enough, when the attacks become so systematic that they threaten to destroy one of his chosen, God doesn't just send angels, he builds fortresses. The dome that's being activated around your life right now isn't just protection, it's divine intelligence technology. God has scanned the entire battlefield of your existence. He's analyzed every weapon formed against you. He's catalogued every strategy the enemy has used to try to break you. And now, based on that intelligence, he's creating a customized defense system that will not only shield you from future attacks, it will expose them before they happen. Think about it. Why do you think you've always been able to sense when something was wrong? Why could you feel the shift in a room when deception walked in? Why did your spirit recoil from certain people even when they seemed perfectly nice? That wasn't paranoia. That was God's early warning system already at work in your life. But this Demethus is the upgrade. This is heaven saying, enough games, enough sneak attacks. My child has suffered enough in the shadows. Now they walk in the light of my protection. You want to know why your life has been so hard? Why every victory came with such a fight? Why you had to claw your way through hell just to reach what other people seem to get effortlessly? Because you're not other people. You're marked. You're chosen. You carry something so valuable, so potentially world-changing, that the forces of darkness have thrown everything they have at you to try to stop you from awakening to your true identity. But here's what they didn't count on. Every attack only made you stronger. Every betrayal refined your discernment. Every night you cried yourself to sleep, you were actually developing spiritual muscle that most people will never possess. You didn't just survive, you were being prepared. The surveillance you never saw wasn't just God watching you suffer, it was God watching you overcome. It was heaven taking notes on your resilience, your faith, your refusal to give up, even when giving up would have been completely understandable. And now, based on everything he's observed, he's making his move. If you've ever felt like you've been spiritually targeted, you're absolutely right. But guess what? The targeting is over. Now comes the covering. Now comes the divine reversal. Now comes the protection that will make your enemies regret they ever touched what belongs to God. Drop a 99 below right now. That's the number of ceiling, the number of completion, the number that tells heaven you're ready to receive what's been prepared for you. Let the dome begin its activation sequence. Because what I'm about to reveal next will show you exactly how this spiritual intelligence system works and why the enemy is about to lose every advantage they thought they had over your life. The surveillance phase is over, chosen one. The protection phase has begun. Do you think God speaks in fairy tales? Do you believe the creator of the universe, the one who formed galaxies with his breath and set the laws of physics in motion, deals in pretty poetry when his children are under attack? Do you really think that when heaven moves to protect you, It's just some sweet spiritual concept that makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Wake up, chosen one. This isn't Sunday school. This is warfare. The dome that's forming around your life right now isn't a metaphor. It's not a symbol. It's not some beautiful religious idea designed to comfort your emotions. This is raw, undiluted divine technology, a living, breathing force field that operates according to spiritual laws more precise than anything NASA has ever engineered. You've been conditioned to think that God's power is abstract, haven't you? That his protection is just a nice thought, a comforting verse to put on a coffee mug. The enemy has spent decades training you to believe that the supernatural is symbolic, that miracles are just stories, that divine intervention is reserved for Bible times. But here's what they don't want you to know. Every time you accepted that lie, you gave away your access to the very power that could have changed everything. But not anymore. Today, the training wheels come off. Psalm 91:4 declares, "He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart." You think that's poetry? You think David was just being dramatic? That man faced down a giant with nothing but a slingshot because he understood something most Christians never grasp. God's protection isn't theoretical. It's tactical. Right now, as you sit there listening to my voice, heaven is constructing around your life a 7-layer protection system so sophisticated that it makes the Pentagon's security look like a screen door. This isn't imagination. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the architecture of God's care, the infrastructure of divine intelligence responding to the spiritual warfare you've been trapped in for decades. Let me break this down for you because your life depends on understanding this. Layer 1. Emotional protection. Every toxic relationship that drained your joy, every manipulation that left you questioning your own reality that ends now. This layer creates an emotional firewall that repels energy vampires before they can even approach you. You'll literally feel the shift when someone with wrong motives tries to engage you. Layer 2. Mental fortification. Those racing thoughts at 3 a.m., that anxiety that attacks your mind like a pack of wolves sealed off. This layer stops mental warfare dead in its tracks. No more overthinking, no more spiraling. Your mind becomes a fortress of divine peace. Layer 3. Physical shielding. Accidents that seem to target you, illnesses that hit right before your breakthrough, physical attacks on your body blocked. This layer creates a buffer zone around your physical form that deflects harm and accelerates healing. Layer 4. Spiritual armor. This is where it gets serious. Demons that have been assigned to your bloodline, generational curses that have haunted your family for decades, witchcraft sent against your destiny, all of it bounces off this layer like bullets off steel. Layer 5. Celestial covering. This layer connects you directly to heaven's command center. Angels are assigned. Strategies are downloaded. Divine intelligence flows through this layer like a spiritual internet connection that never goes down. Layer 6. Template restoration. God is literally rewriting the spiritual blueprint of your life, erasing every demonic alteration, every curse, every limitation that was never supposed to be there. You're being restored to your original divine design. Layer 7. Etheric sanctification. The deepest layer, where your very essence is purified and sealed. This is where your identity as a chosen one becomes unshakable, where your calling becomes undeniable, where your authority becomes absolute. Can you feel it? As I speak these words, something is shifting around you, not in your imagination, in reality. The atmosphere in your room is changing. The spiritual temperature is rising. That's because this dome isn't just being described, it's being activated, spirit to spirit, not screen to eyes. 2 Kings 6:17 tells us about Elisha's servant who couldn't see the chariots of fire surrounding them until God opened his eyes. Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. What if your eyes are being opened right now? What if what you're experiencing isn't just words on a screen, but actual divine deployment happening in real time? The enemy has convinced you that you have to fight every battle alone, that protection is something you have to earn, that God's power is limited to what you can see. But Ephesians 3:20 destroys that lie. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. That power isn't dormant. It's not waiting for some future moment when you're ready enough or worthy enough. It's working right now. The dome is forming right now. Your protection is activating right now. Stop for a moment. Feel the shift in your spirit, that sense of something settling around you, something vast and protective and alive, that's not your imagination playing tricks. That's heaven responding to faith, to recognition, to your willingness to believe that God's power is as real as the air you breathe. Say this with me aloud. I am not just covered, I am encoded. That word encode unlocks the next layer of shielding. Because you're not just receiving random protection, you're being programmed with divine intelligence that will guide every decision, shield every weakness, and amplify every strength for the rest of your life. But here's what most people miss. This dome doesn't just protect what you have, it prepares you for what you're about to receive. Chapter 3. The exposures are about to begin. How many times have you looked into someone's eyes and felt something was off, but talked yourself out of trusting your gut? How many years did you waste defending people who were secretly plotting your downfall? How many sleepless nights did you spend wondering why those closest to you felt like strangers wearing familiar faces? Your discernment wasn't broken, chosen one. Your spirit was screaming warnings that your heart refused to hear. But that confusion ends today, because the dome that's been activated around your life isn't just a shield, it's spiritual X-ray vision. And what it's about to reveal will shock you, vindicate you, and finally set you free from every wolf that's been masquerading in sheep's clothing. You see, the enemy's greatest weapon was never direct attack. It was infiltration. He couldn't break you from the outside, so he sent agents to work from within. People who said they loved you while slowly poisoning your peace. Friends who celebrated your victories to your face while secretly hoping for your failure. Family members who smiled at Thanksgiving dinner while spreading lies about you before dessert was served. You felt it, didn't you? That gnawing sensation that something wasn't right. That uneasiness when certain people entered the room. That exhaustion that hit you after spending time with specific individuals, even when the conversation seemed pleasant. Your spirit was trying to warn you, but you kept making excuses for them. They're family. They're going through a hard time. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. Wrong. You weren't being sensitive enough. Jesus himself warned us in Matthew 10:36, "A man's enemies will be the members of his own household." He wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was giving you a heads up about the spiritual warfare that would come disguised as love, wrapped in familiar faces, delivered with perfect timing to catch you off guard. But here's what the enemy didn't count on. God has been watching every whispered conversation about you, every lie told behind your back, every moment they comforted you with their mouth while stabbing you with their heart. Heaven has been building a case file, and the evidence is overwhelming. The dome isn't just protection, it's prosecution, and the trials are about to begin. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will explain everything. That supernatural bubble surrounding your life comes equipped with divine revelation technology. It doesn't just block deception, it exposes it. You won't need to play detective anymore. You won't need to confront anyone. You won't need to gather evidence or build a case. The dome will do it for you. Watch what happens in the coming days. The truth will start slipping from their mouths like water through a broken dam. Masks will fall mid-sentence. Lies they've been telling for years will suddenly tumble out during casual conversations. They'll say things they never meant to say, reveal things they swore they'd take to their graves. Why? Because the dome creates an atmosphere where truth cannot be hidden. It's like spiritual sodium pentothal divine truth serum that makes deception impossible to maintain. You remember the story of Balaam in Numbers 22. He was hired to curse God's people, but every time he opened his mouth, blessings came out instead. That's what's happening now, but in reverse. Every time these false friends try to maintain their facade, the truth about their real intentions will pour out like a confession they can't control. And you'll finally understand why you felt so drained around them, why your energy depleted after every phone call, why your peace was stolen after every visit. They weren't just negative people, they were spiritual vampires, sent to drain your anointing, delay your purpose, and derail your destiny. But the feeding is over. The dome has cut off their access to your spiritual resources. And now, like parasites separated from their host, they're beginning to reveal their true nature. Some of you are already seeing it happen. That friend who's been acting strange lately, saying things that don't quite add up. That family member who suddenly seems uncomfortable around you for no apparent reason. That colleague who used to seek your advice but now avoids eye contact. The masks are beginning to slip, and you're finally seeing what your spirit knew all along. Don't feel guilty about what's being revealed. Don't make excuses for them. Don't try to fix what God is exposing. The dome isn't showing you these things to hurt you. It's revealing them to heal you. For too long, you've been apologizing for their behavior, making allowances for their toxicity, carrying their emotional baggage while they criticized the way you packed it. But Proverbs 27:6 tells us, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." The dome is teaching you the difference between wounds that heal and kisses that kill. This isn't about revenge. This is about clarity. This isn't about being vindictive. This is about being vindicated. God is saying, "My child's discernment was correct. Their spirit was right to recoil. Their peace was right to flee." The exposures that are coming will do more than reveal who your real enemies are. They'll confirm that you were never crazy, never paranoid, never too sensitive. You were spiritually gifted with the ability to sense what others couldn't see. And now the dome is upgrading that gift from feeling to knowing, from sensing to seeing, from wondering to witnessing. Every person who doesn't belong in your next season is being marked for removal, not through your efforts, but through divine intervention. The dome will make staying in your presence so uncomfortable for them that they'll remove themselves. They'll create drama to justify their exit. They'll pick fights to give themselves permission to leave. They'll suddenly become too busy to maintain the relationship. Let them go. Don't chase them. Don't try to explain yourself. Don't beg them to stay. The dome is performing spiritual surgery, removing the infected relationships that were poisoning your purpose. Comment, "Show me," if you're ready for the dome to start revealing everything that's been hidden in the shadows of your life. But I'm warning you, don't ask for peace if you're not ready for truth. Because what's about to be exposed will change how you see everyone around you. Are you ready to finally know who's really for you and who's been against you all along? Chapter 4. Emotional detox has begun. How long have you been carrying shame that doesn't even belong to you? How many decades have you smiled through agony so convincing that even your own family never suspected the torment eating you alive from the inside? How much longer were you planning to carry the weight of everyone else's sins, everyone else's failures, everyone else's broken promises on your shoulders, like some kind of spiritual pack mule? The dome that's activating around you right now isn't just a shield, it's a purification system. And the first thing it's targeting isn't the attacks coming from outside, it's the poison you've been storing inside. Right now, as these words penetrate your spirit, something ancient and toxic is being flushed out of your emotional system. That knot in your stomach that's been there so long you forgot it wasn't supposed to be there. It's dissolving. That heaviness in your chest that made every breath feel like work. It's lifting. That constant buzz of anxiety that became the soundtrack of your life. God is hitting the mute button. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. You weren't created to be a human storage unit for other people's garbage. You weren't designed to absorb every negative emotion in every room you entered. You weren't called to be the family shock absorber, the friend who never needs support, the one who stays strong while everyone else falls apart. But that's exactly what you became, isn't it? Somewhere along the way, you made a silent agreement with suffering. You decided that your pain didn't matter as much as everyone else's peace. You became the emotional janitor of your entire circle, cleaning up messes you didn't make, carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. And the worst part? You did it so well that no one ever suspected you were drowning. Isaiah 53:4 says, "Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering." But here's what religion never taught you. That verse was about Jesus, not you. You've been trying to be a savior when you were called to be saved. The dome is performing emergency surgery on your soul right now. It's extracting decades of absorbed trauma, inherited anxiety, and second-hand sorrow. Every time someone dumped their problems on you and walked away lighter while you stayed heavier, that transaction is being reversed. Every moment you swallowed your tears to make room for someone else's drama, that suppression is being undone. Can you feel it? That strange sensation in your chest, like something that's been frozen solid for years is finally starting to thaw. That's not your imagination. That's divine intervention rewiring your nervous system in real time. You see, the enemy's greatest strategy against the chosen was never to destroy you outright. It was to turn you into an emotional sponge, soaking up so much pain and dysfunction that you'd never have the energy to discover your true power. He knew that if he could keep you constantly drained, constantly fixing everyone else's brokenness, you'd never have time to address your own healing. But God saw through the whole scheme. Psalm 147:3 declares, "He heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds." Not someday, not eventually, right now. The Hebrew word for heals here means to repair by stitching together like a master surgeon, closing a wound so perfectly that eventually you can't even see the scar. That anxiety that wakes you up at 3 a.m. with racing thoughts. The dome is installing a new operating system in your mind that runs on peace instead of panic. Those loops of worry that played on repeat in your head like a broken record. The needle just lifted. The record just stopped. For the first time in decades, there's silence in your mind. And in that silence, you're going to hear something you forgot existed, your own voice. Not the voice that learned to say what everyone wanted to hear. Not the voice that got trained to minimize your pain and maximize your service. Your real voice. The one that knows what you actually want. The one that remembers what you used to dream about before life taught you that your dreams didn't matter. God is flushing out the shame no one knew you were still carrying. That secret embarrassment about the choices you made when you were desperate. That guilt about the marriage that failed even though you gave it everything. That regret about the children who walked away even though you loved them perfectly. None of that shame was ever yours to carry. The dome doesn't just block external attacks, it evicts internal prisoners. Every lie you believed about your worth, every false verdict you accepted about your failures, every toxic agreement you made with limitation, all of it is being served an eviction notice right now. No more smiling through torment. That season is sealed. No more pretending you're fine when you're falling apart. No more being everyone's rock when you need someone to lean on. The dome has revoked your license to suffer in silence. And here's the miracle you weren't expecting. As this emotional poison leaves your system, it's making room for something you thought was gone forever. Joy. Not happiness that's circumstantial. Joy, the kind that bubbles up from your spirit regardless of what's happening around you. The kind that makes you laugh at the enemy's threats, because you know who's protecting you now. You're about to cry, aren't you? But not from pain this time, from release. Those tears that are building behind your eyes right now aren't tears of sorrow, they're tears of liberation. Your soul is finally exhaling after holding its breath for decades. Say it out loud right now. I release the silent weight. Don't just think it, speak it. Let your voice carry the authority of someone who's finally free. This moment isn't emotional, it's prophetic. Something just left you that was never supposed to be there in the first place. But this emotional detox is just the beginning, chosen one. Because once your inner world is clean, God can begin building something in you that will shock everyone who thought they knew you. The real you is about to emerge, and she's nothing like the broken version the world tried to create. How many times have you sat in prayer, desperate to hear God's voice, only to find your mind racing with 1,000 different worries? How often have you tried to make a simple decision whether to trust someone, take a job, or even choose what to eat and felt paralyzed by the chaos in your head? When was the last time you had one day, just one single day, where your thoughts weren't hijacked by anxiety, regret, or the endless noise of a world that never stops screaming for your attention? That mental tornado you've been living in, that's not normal. That's not just getting older. That's spiritual warfare designed to keep you from hearing the one voice that matters most. But that ends today. The dome that heaven is activating around your life isn't just a shield, it's the most sophisticated spiritual firewall ever created. Right now, as I speak these words, God is installing divine technology around your mind that will filter out every distraction, every toxic thought pattern, every mental loop that has kept you spinning in circles for decades. Listen to what Philippians 4:7 promises. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. That word guard in the original Greek means to garrison, to station soldiers around something precious. God is literally posting spiritual sentries around your thoughts. But here's what most people miss. This isn't just about peace. This is about precision. This is about turning your focus into a weapon so sharp, so laser-targeted, that when you set your mind on something, hell itself can't shake you loose. Think about a satellite dish. When it's perfectly aligned, it can pick up signals from 22,000 miles above the Earth. But if it's off by even a few degrees, you get nothing but static. Your mind, chosen one, is heaven's satellite dish. And for too long, the enemy has been jamming your signal. Remember that time when you knew you absolutely knew what God was telling you to do, but then doubt crept in, then fear whispered its lies, then that toxic friend called with their drama, then your mind started racing with what-ifs, until you couldn't hear anything except noise. That wasn't your fault. That was spiritual interference. But the dome changes everything. Picture this. You're walking through the most chaotic environment imaginable. Car horns blaring, people shouting, sirens wailing, construction noise hammering. But you're wearing the most advanced noise-cancelling headphones ever invented. All you hear is crystal clear music. That's what this dome does for your spirit. 1 Corinthians 14:33 declares, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace." But confusion has been the soundtrack of your life for so long that you thought it was normal. You thought everyone's mind was a battlefield. You thought constant overthinking was just part of being human. Wrong. The dome is now scrambling every frequency that doesn't belong. Those loops of overthinking that kept you awake at 3 a.m., disconnected. Those toxic relationships that drained your mental energy every time you thought about them. Signal blocked. That spiritual fog that made every decision feel impossible, cleared. God is saying, "My child has suffered enough mental torture. Focus is a weapon now, and the dome is your shield." But here's where it gets supernatural. This dome isn't just filtering out the bad, it's amplifying the good. When God speaks, his voice will cut through everything else like a sword through silk. When heaven downloads an idea into your spirit, it will arrive with such clarity that you'll wonder how you ever missed it before. Isaiah 30:21 promises, "Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it, whenever you turn to the right hand or whenever you turn to the left.'" That word behind you means it's coming from your blind spot, from the place you can't see. But with the dome's spiritual radar, you'll detect heaven's signals from every direction. Do you realize what this means? No more second-guessing every decision. No more lying awake wondering if you heard from God or from your own wishful thinking. No more paralysis by analysis. You're about to enter a dimension where focus becomes automatic, where distractions bounce off you like rain off a roof, where your mind operates with the precision of a Swiss watch because it's finally connected to heaven's atomic clock. Think about Moses when he came down from Mount Sinai. The Bible says his face was so bright that people couldn't look at him. That wasn't just from being in God's presence, that was from having unfiltered, undistracted communion with the Almighty. That's what happens when the static clears and you're operating on heaven's frequency. But this dome requires your cooperation. It responds to alignment, not wishful thinking. Speak this declaration right now. No more confusion, no more delay. My mind belongs to God, and I receive his clarity now. Say it out loud. Let the dome hear your voice. Let heaven know you're ready to think with divine precision. Because what I'm about to reveal next will show you how this supernatural focus doesn't just change your thoughts, it transforms your entire reality. When your mind is finally free from the chaos, when your spirit is tuned to heaven's frequency, when your focus becomes a weapon instead of a weakness, something remarkable happens. The world starts responding to your clarity instead of your confusion. Are you ready to think like heaven thinks? What if I told you that the person who broke your heart last year wasn't actually rejecting you, but was being rejected by something protecting you? What if that job you desperately wanted, that relationship you begged God for, that opportunity that slipped through your fingers wasn't lost but was deliberately blocked? What if every door that slammed in your face wasn't the universe being cruel, but heaven being kind? Brace yourself, chosen one. What I'm about to reveal will shatter every assumption you've made about rejection, disappointment, and unanswered prayers. The dome that's been activated around your life doesn't just protect you from attacks, it protects you from yourself, from your limited vision, from your flesh-driven desires, from the very things you thought you needed but would have destroyed you if you'd received them. Here's the truth that will cut you to the bone. When the dome reaches full alignment with your destiny, it will start making decisions without consulting your emotions. It will slam doors you want to walk through. It will end relationships you thought were perfect. It will block opportunities you've been chasing for years. And it won't ask your permission. Because God's protection isn't just about keeping bad things out, it's about keeping you from choosing the wrong things. The Bible warns us in Proverbs 14:12, "There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death." Your human vision can only see about 3 feet ahead. But this dome operates from heaven's perspective, where your entire life is visible from beginning to end, where God can see the landmines buried in paths that look perfectly safe to you. Think about it. How many times have you begged God for something only to watch him stay silent while that thing walked away? How many nights did you cry yourself to sleep wondering why he wouldn't give you what seemed so obviously good for you. How many times did you feel like God was being cruel when doors kept slamming shut? You thought it was abandonment. It was actually intervention. That person who ghosted you after 3 perfect dates? The dome saw the addiction they were hiding. That business partner who suddenly backed out of your dream venture? The dome detected the greed that would have bankrupted you within 2 years. That house you loved but couldn't afford? The dome knew about the foundation problems that wouldn't show up for another 5 years. Every heartbreak was a spiritual extraction. Every disappointment was divine protection wearing a disguise. But here's where it gets shocking. Chosen one. The dome doesn't just close doors you don't know about. It will close doors you're desperately trying to keep open. It will end relationships you're fighting to save. It will kill dreams you've invested your whole identity in. And the pain will feel like betrayal until you realize it was rescue. Isaiah 55:8-9 declares, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." The dome operates from that higher perspective. It sees what you can't see, it knows what you don't know, and it will protect you from your own blind spots, even if it breaks your heart in the process. I need you to understand something that might shake you. If God didn't authorize it, the dome will close even if you love it, even if you've prayed for it, even if it seems perfect, even if ending, it feels like it's killing you. Because divine rejection is now protection, and you cannot afford to reopen what the dome has sealed. Do you remember that relationship that ended just when you thought it was getting serious? The one that left you questioning everything about yourself? The one that made you feel like you weren't good enough, pretty enough, successful enough? What if I told you that person wasn't rejecting you? They were being repelled by something they couldn't see. What if the dome recognized an incompatibility that would have surfaced after marriage, after children, after you'd invested years of your life? What if that heartbreak wasn't punishment, it was prevention? The dome doesn't operate on your timeline or your emotions. It operates on God's perfect knowledge of your future. It sees the cancer that person would have brought into your life. It detects the spiritual poison disguised as love. It recognizes the subtle ways that good opportunity would have slowly led you away from your true calling, and it moves to protect you whether you understand it or not. This is why you must stop trying to force open what God has closed. Stop manipulating circumstances to get back what the dome removed. Stop begging for second chances with people who were extracted from your life for your own protection. When you fight against the dome's decisions, you're not showing faith, you're showing rebellion against divine wisdom. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." The dome operates in perfect timing. When it closes a door, it's because that season is over. When it removes a person, it's because their purpose in your life is complete. When it blocks an opportunity, it's because something better is being prepared. But you have to trust the process. You have to trust that the thing that feels like loss is actually liberation. You have to trust that the dome's decision 7, the painful ones, are protecting something precious inside you that you can't even see yet. Comment, I trust the dome. If you're ready to stop fighting against the very thing that's trying to save you, if you're ready to let divine rejection become divine protection, if you're ready to stop reopening doors that were sealed for your own good, because what I'm about to show you next will prove that every door the dome closes creates space for something so much better that you'll fall to your knees in gratitude for every painful no that led you here. What if everything you thought required blood, sweat, and tears suddenly became as natural as breathing? What if the very tasks that have drained you for decades, the ones that left you exhausted and questioning your abilities, suddenly began flowing through you like water through an open dam. What if I told you that starting today, you're about to experience something so supernatural that you'll question whether it's really happening to you? Chosen one, you're about to discover what it means to move in divine speed. For too long, you've been walking through life like you're trudging through knee-deep mud. Every step forward required enormous effort. Every goal demanded sacrifice that left you depleted. Every project, every responsibility, every dream you tried to pursue felt like you were pushing a boulder uphill while wearing cement shoes. You told yourself, that's just how life works. That success requires struggle. That if it doesn't hurt, it's not worth having. But what if that entire belief system was a lie designed to keep you operating below your true potential? The dome that's now activated around your life doesn't just protect you, it transforms how you function in this realm. You've gone from walking in mud to running on water, and the difference is about to shock you. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." But here's what most people miss. This isn't describing some future heavenly experience. This is describing what happens when heaven's power system connects with human potential. The dome amplifies not your hustle, but your alignment. Think about this. When Jesus walked on water, was he straining? Was he sweating? Was he exhausted from the effort? Number. He was operating in a different realm, under different laws. The same laws that are now being activated in your life through this supernatural covering. You're about to experience what I call divine flower state, where your natural abilities become supernaturally enhanced, where tasks that used to take you hours will be completed in minutes, where solutions to problems that have plagued you for years will suddenly become crystal clear, where your hands will touch projects and they will multiply beyond your understanding. But here's the key. This isn't about working harder. It's about working from a higher frequency. Remember when Moses struck the rock and water gushed out? He didn't manufacture the water. He didn't struggle to create it. He simply aligned with God's instruction, and the miracle flowed. That's what's happening to you right now. You're being repositioned to operate from the realm of divine supply rather than human effort. Your strength will surprise you. Tasks that used to leave you exhausted will energize you. Conversations that used to drain you will fuel you. Problems that used to overwhelm you will seem manageable, even exciting, because you're no longer solving them from your limited human perspective. You're accessing heaven's unlimited intelligence database. Your voice will carry weight. Words that used to fall on deaf ears will penetrate hearts. Advice you give will stick. When you speak, people will listen not because you've become more eloquent, but because your words are now backed by divine authority. The dome ensures that when you open your mouth, it's not just your voice speaking, it's heaven's voice flowing through your vocal cords. Your hands will multiply. Every project you touch will expand beyond your wildest expectations. Every seed you plant will produce a harvest that defies natural law. Every investment you make, whether financial, emotional, or spiritual, will return to you pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This is what happens when the supernatural collides with the natural in your daily life. But let me warn you about something. This acceleration will feel unreal at first. You might be tempted to dismiss it, to explain it away, to convince yourself it's just a coincidence. Don't. That's the old mindset trying to keep you trapped in the realm of struggle and limitation. When Elijah called down fire from heaven, it wasn't gradual. When Peter walked on water, it wasn't tentative. When the Red Sea parted, it wasn't slow. Divine intervention often happens at a speed that shocks the human mind. And you're about to experience that same type of acceleration in every area of your life. The tasks that used to feel like mountains will become molehills. The relationships that required enormous emotional labor will either transform or remove themselves from your life. The financial struggles that have plagued you for years will begin to resolve in ways you never imagined possible. This isn't positive thinking. This isn't the law of attraction. This is the law of divine acceleration being activated through the protection dome that now surrounds your life. But here's the crucial part. You must receive it. You must stop expecting everything to be hard. You must release the addiction to struggle that's been programmed into your DNA for generations. You must embrace the truth that God never intended for His children to crawl through life. He designed us to soar. The dome is now calibrated to your new frequency. It's tuned to the realm of supernatural ease. It's programmed to eliminate friction and create flow. But you must align your expectations with this new reality. If you're ready for supernatural EZF, you're ready to stop explaining away miracles and start experiencing them. Type, "Let there be flow" right now. This isn't a wish. This is a command. You're speaking directly to the spiritual realm, authorizing the release of divine acceleration into every area of your existence. The mud season is over, chosen one. The water walking season has begun, and what you're about to experience will redefine everything you thought you knew about what's possible in this life. Are you ready to move at the speed of heaven? Chapter 8. This is not just protection, it's coronation. Do you really think God went through all this trouble just to keep you safe? Do you believe the Almighty would mobilize heaven's most advanced spiritual technology simply to build you a shelter? Do you honestly think this magnificent, unbreakable fortress of divine energy was designed merely to protect someone ordinary? Wake up, chosen one. This isn't protection, this is preparation for your throne. You've been thinking too small. You've been seeing yourself as damaged goods that needed fixing, as a broken vessel that required patching up. But God doesn't waste His miracles on rehabilitation projects. He invests them in royalty. And what's happening around your life right now isn't a rescue mission, it's a coronation ceremony. This dome isn't a shield, it's a throne room installation. Listen carefully to what heaven is declaring over you right now. The testing phase is complete. The character examination has concluded. The loyalty assessment has been passed with flying colors. Now comes the crown. You want to know why your trials were so intense, why your pain cut so deep, why you walked through fires that would have consumed weaker souls. Because ordinary people don't get tested for extraordinary positions. Peasants don't get prepared for palaces, and broken people don't get fitted for crowns. But you were being measured for something magnificent. 1 Kings 3-9 records Solomon's prayer. Give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. But here's what most people miss. Solomon didn't ask for riches, fame, or an easy life. He asked for the wisdom to carry the weight of leadership. And God was so pleased with that request that He gave Solomon everything he didn't ask for as well. That's exactly what's happening to you right now. Every sleepless night when you prayed for others instead of pitying yourself, that was royal training. Every time you chose forgiveness over revenge, that was crown preparation. Every moment you blessed those who cursed you, that was throne room rehearsal. You thought you were just surviving. But heaven was watching you reign in the darkness, preparing you to rule in the light. The dome descending over your life isn't a protective bubble. It's the spiritual architecture of authority. It's the invisible infrastructure that surrounds every person God has chosen to lead, to influence, to carry His power into a broken world. You are not fragile. You are sealed. You are not a victim seeking safety. You are a king receiving your kingdom. But here's where it gets shocking, and this might sting at first. Not everyone who calls themselves chosen will receive this dome. Not everyone who suffered gets crowned. The dome only descends on those who passed the test. And the test wasn't about perfection, it was about persistence. How many people gave up when the pressure got too intense? How many walked away when the attacks got too personal? How many chose bitterness over blessing, resentment over restoration? They failed the royal examination. But you're still here. Still believing, still hoping, still fighting. That's not stubbornness, that's the mark of true nobility. Revelation 2:10 promises, "Be faithful, even to the point of death, and I will give you life as your victor's crown." Notice it doesn't say be perfect, it says be faithful. And faithful is exactly what you've been, even when faithfulness felt like foolishness. The crown is spiritual, the covering is permanent, and the authority you're about to step into will shock even you. This dome isn't just protecting you from attack, it's preparing you for impact. You're about to discover that the same voice that once cried out in pain is now going to carry divine authority. The same hands that once trembled in weakness are now going to move mountains. The same heart that once broke from betrayal is now going to break generational curses. You've been promoted, chosen one, and the dome is your inauguration. But here's the moment of truth that will separate the genuine from the pretenders. This coronation requires your agreement. This throne demands your acceptance. This crown needs your confession. Too many people want the blessing without the responsibility. They want the crown without the calling. They want the authority without the accountability. But royal power only flows through those who understand that with great blessing comes great purpose. So I'm going to ask you to do something that might feel uncomfortable, something that your humility will resist, something that your past will try to argue against. I want you to look at your reflection, not your physical face, but your spiritual identity, and declare what heaven has already decreed. Say it now, out loud, with conviction. I am the proof. Say it again. I am the proof that God can take someone broken and make them beautiful, someone wounded and make them a warrior, someone forgotten and make them a force to be reckoned with. Because the dome only stays on the heads of those who pass the test. And if you're hearing this message, if your spirit is burning as these words hit your soul, if something ancient and royal is awakening inside you, then you passed. The surveillance is over. The testing is complete. The protection has begun. But more than that, the coronation is in progress. Are you ready to stop hiding your light and start wearing your crown? Because what comes next will require you to walk not as a survivor, but as the sovereign God always intended you to be. The dome isn't just covering you, it's crowning you, and the world is about to see what happens when heaven's hidden royalty finally steps into the light. Are you ready for your life to stop making sense to other people? Are you prepared for doors to swing open that logic cannot explain? Can you handle the supernatural becoming your new normal? Because, chosen one, what you're about to step into will defy every natural law you've ever known. The dome isn't just protecting you, it's reprogramming reality around you. And what happens next will not be normal. You've lived so long in the land of struggle, of waiting, of maybe someday. You've grown comfortable with disappointment. You've made peace with doors that stay locked. You've accepted that good things happen to other people, not you. But that version of your life just died. The dome has killed it. And what's being born in its place will shock you. Listen carefully. When God activates supernatural protection around one of his chosen, he doesn't just shield them from harm. He reshapes the entire spiritual atmosphere around their existence. The Bible declares in Isaiah 43:19, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." But here's what most people miss when God makes a way in the wilderness. That wilderness becomes dangerous to everyone who opposes his plan. Your enemies are about to experience something they've never felt before. When they look at you, when they try to plot against you, when they open their mouths to speak curses over your life, they will freeze. Literally freeze. The dome carries such a charge of divine authority that opposition becomes impossible in your presence. Remember what happened to the soldiers who came to arrest Jesus in John 18:6. When Jesus said, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. That same power is now surrounding you, not because you're perfect, but because you're protected, not because you're special, but because you're sealed. Think about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They didn't just survive the fiery furnace, they walked through it untouched. The fire couldn't even leave the smell of smoke on their clothes. That's dome-level protection. And that same supernatural covering is wrapping around your life right now. But here's where it gets supernatural. The dome doesn't just protect you from fire, it carries you through it. Every trial that should have destroyed you will now become your platform. Every attack that should have broken you will now become your testimony. Every wilderness that should have killed you will now become your pathway to destiny. Do you realize what this means? The job interview you're nervous about doors will open that logic cannot explain. The relationship you thought was over God will breathe life into dead places. The financial breakthrough you've been praying for provision will appear from sources you never imagined. This is not wishful thinking, this is holy inevitability. The dome operates on miracle logic, not human logic. It functions in the realm where water becomes wine, where 5 loaves feed 5,000, where dead things come back to life. And you, chosen one, are now walking inside that realm permanently. But let me tell you what will shock you most. You're going to dream again. Those dreams you buried when life got too hard, when disappointment taught you to expect less, when people convinced you to be realistic, they're about to resurrect themselves. The dome doesn't just protect your present, it restores your future. You're going to love again. That heart you closed to protect yourself from more pain, those walls you built to keep people out the dome, is going to heal the places that made those walls necessary. Love isn't dangerous anymore when you're covered by divine protection. You're going to be surrounded by what once avoided you, the respect that passed you by, the opportunities that went to others, the favor that seemed reserved for everyone else. All of it is about to shift direction and flow toward you like a river that's been dammed up for decades and is finally breaking free. My dear friend, as we come to the end of this sacred journey together, I want you to remember 3 unshakable truths that will carry you through every storm ahead. First, you are not forgotten. Every tear you've shed, every sleepless night you've endured, every moment you've questioned whether God still cares, He has been there, building something beautiful from your brokenness. The dome of protection surrounding you is proof that heaven never stopped watching over you. Second, your pain has purpose. Those valleys that nearly destroyed you were actually preparing you for the mountains you're about to climb. The enemy meant to break you, but God used it all to make you unbreakable. And third, what's coming next will surpass every dream you've dared to dream. The supernatural protection and provision activating around your life right now isn't just for survival, it's for victory, for breakthrough, for the fullness of everything God intended for your life. You are not walking this path alone. Right here, in this sacred space we've created together, you are surrounded by thousands of chosen ones who understand your journey, who fought similar battles, who are standing with you in faith. This isn't just a community, it's a family forged by fire and sealed by divine love. But let me ask you this, now that you know who you are, now that you understand the supernatural protection that surrounds you, what will you do with this revelation? How will you walk differently, knowing that heaven itself has declared you untouchable? Before you go, let me pray over you with the authority that comes from knowing God's heart for His chosen ones. Heavenly Father, I place my hand on the shoulder of every precious soul listening to these words. You see them, Lord, not just their faces, but their hearts. You know the battles they've fought in secret, the tears they've cried when no one was watching, the faith they've held onto when everything seemed hopeless. Right now, in this moment, I ask you to activate every promise you've spoken over their lives. Let the dome of protection that surrounds them become so real, so tangible, that they feel your presence like a warm embrace that never lets go. Open doors that no man can shut. Close doors that would lead them away from your best. Send divine connections into their path, people who will recognize their value and champion their destiny. Remove every person and situation that has been draining their peace, their joy, their hope. Heal their bodies, Lord. Restore their minds. Renew their spirits. Let them wake up tomorrow feeling lighter, stronger, more hopeful than they've felt in years. Give them dreams again, Father. Give them the courage to love again, to trust again, to believe again. I speak peace over their anxious thoughts, provision over their financial concerns, healing over their physical pain, and breakthrough over every area where they've been stuck. Let them experience your goodness in ways that leave no doubt that you are still in control, still on the throne, still fighting for them. In the mighty name of Jesus, I declare that their latter days will be greater than their former days. Their comeback will be stronger than their setback, and their testimony will be a beacon of hope for others who feel forgotten and alone. Cover them tonight with your peace. Wake them tomorrow with your strength, and remind them every day that they are loved, chosen, and destined for greatness. Amen. If this message has touched your heart, if you've felt the presence of God in these words, please don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear that they're not alone, that they're not forgotten, that God is still writing their story. Comment below and let us know how God is moving in your life. Ask for prayer. This community will stand with you. Share your testimony. Your breakthrough might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Thank you for opening your heart to receive what heaven wanted to pour into you today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell, because God has so much more He wants to say to you. You are part of a family now,